The strongest women often struggle the most with surrender. If you've spent years holding everything together, your home, your children, your career, your family, this might feel familiar because your strength helped you survive. But strength alone cannot bring you peace. And learning the difference between the two, that's where your real healing begins. Hi, welcome back to Beyond Believing. I am Katie Ann. If you are the woman who keeps everything running, the one who figures it out, who shows up, who doesn't let things fall, this episode is for you. Because today I want to look at a thought that might be so familiar you've stopped noticing it's a thought at all. You might think it's just the truth. I'm going to share what I had to learn about my own strength. And then I want to take you to a moment in Luke 10 that I think is going to land differently than you've ever heard it before. Let's go. Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, if I don't do it, it won't get done? Or maybe this one, if I don't do it, no one else will? Those thoughts feel true, don't they? They feel like facts. They feel like things you've learned from experience and things you have proven over and over again to be true. And here is what I need you to hear. That thought is not actually a fact. It is a belief, and there is a difference. A fact doesn't change based on what you think. A belief produces a life that keeps proving it right until you decide to think something different. I know that because I lived it. After my divorce, I have become a single mom of 5. And I operated under a belief I didn't know I had, that if I loosened my grip for even a moment, everything would fall apart, that no one was coming, that I had to figure this out myself. I didn't walk around saying those words, but I lived them completely. I managed my home, my kids, my schedule, my emotions. Well, I tried to. Every outcome I could get my hands on, I controlled. And I called it strength. What I learned the hard way is that managing is exactly what created the collapse. Because when you are managing everything, you are not receiving anything. Your hands are full. Every resource available to you, wisdom from the people around you, help you don't even know existed, the quiet voice of God, all of it is standing right at your door, and you cannot let it in because your arms are so full of things you were never designed to carry alone. And here's the part that undid me. The belief underneath all of it that I can't count on a man produced exactly that, a life where I counted on no one, including God. The facts of my life had not changed. I am still a single mom of 5, but the thought I was carrying around inside those facts was proving itself right over and over, because that is what beliefs do. They look for evidence, they find it, and they build a life around it. And here is why I know this is not just my story. If single mom of 5 were the problem, if that were the fact that made life hard, then every single mom of 5 would have the same experience I am having. But we don't, because it is not the facts that determine what you experience. It is what you believe inside of those facts, which means you have more power here than you have been told. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Paul doesn't say my power is made perfect when you've got it together, when you've managed it correctly, when you've proven you can handle it. He says, in weakness, which means the very thing you have been hiding, the need, the exhaustion, the part of you that cannot do this alone, that is exactly where God's power shows up most fully. And Proverbs 31:26, it says she opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. The Proverbs 31 woman is not celebrated for how perfectly she managed everything. She is celebrated for what she offered from wisdom, not from control. That kind of wisdom only comes when your hands are free enough to receive it. I want to take you to Luke 10. And I know you've heard this before, but I want you to hear it differently than you might have. Jesus comes to the home of two sisters, Martha and Mary. Martha opens her home to him because she is hosting, she is serving, she's doing all the right things. Mary sits at his feet and listens. And Martha, doing everything right, comes to Jesus and says, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all this work alone? Tell her to help me. Notice what she does. She doesn't go and complain to her sister. She goes to Jesus and tells him exactly how he should relieve the burden she is carrying. She brings her exhaustion to the right place, but she comes with the wrong request because she wants Jesus to help her manage a load she assigned to herself. How often have you done that? How often have you come to God genuinely, faithfully, in prayer, and asked him to help you manage things he never asked you to manage, to fix problems that exist because you picked them up, to relieve the weight of burdens you put on yourself? Now, I am not saying you are wrong for bringing it to God. That is always the right move. But what Jesus says to Martha, gently, with her name twice, which in Scripture is always intimacy, is not, let me help you carry it better. It is this. In Luke 10:41 and 42, he says, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken from her. Anxious and troubled from doing all the right things. And here is what the one necessary thing is and what it isn't. It is not one more task. It is not better management. It is not a more efficient system. It is this: focusing on what God is teaching you. Mary didn't check out. Mary chose to learn. And Jesus says that desire to receive what God is offering will not be taken from her. God will not ask her to set aside his teaching to focus on the cares of the world, whether your ex-parent's the way you think he should, whether the situation cooperates with what you need, whether anyone else shows up the way you would, whether your children choose God or not. Those are the many things, and they will always be many things. The only thing is what Mary chose, not to manage the many, to receive the one. Surrender is not what happens to you when you finally run out of strength. It is a choice available to you right now before anything else changes. Here is what changed when the thought changed, not the facts, the thought. I am still a single mom of 5. That has not moved. But here's what I think now. And this is not a thought I manufactured. I arrived at it through work and prayer and a lot of choosing. And it is this: God has it all covered. From that thought, I ask questions instead of assuming I already know. I look for solutions I would have missed because I was too busy managing to notice them. I ask for help and I actually receive it. I bring more to God in prayer. I fill my mind with what is true and good. I listen to understand instead of waiting for my turn to fix things. The facts are the same, but what I experience inside them is completely different. And that is how I know the thought was never a fact. It was always a choice, which brings me to the second lie I want to name. Because a lot of strong women, when they start to see this, get to this point and think, that's fine for you, but I don't have a choice. I have to keep carrying this. My kids need me. Everything depends on me. There is no one else. Now that thought feels like a fact too, doesn't it? And I want to offer you something very gently. Showing up for your children does not look the way the world tells you it does. The world says it looks like doing everything, managing everything, being available for everything, hands full, never stopping, and if you're not careful, that's what you will read inside the Proverbs 31 woman story. But your children do not need a mother who has it all together. They need a mother who shows them what it looks like to trust God with what she cannot carry. A mother who asks for help, who admits she doesn't have all the answers, who sits at Jesus' feet instead of running herself into the ground, proving she can do it without him. You are modeling something for them right now. The question is what? Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." This woman is not passive. She is soaring. She is running without wearing out. She is walking without giving up. That is not the picture of someone who put everything down and fell apart. That is the picture of someone who finally stopped carrying what was never hers and discovered what she was actually made for. You, my friend, are not too strong to surrender. You are too strong not to. The weight you have been carrying alone was never designed for one woman. Not because you aren't capable, but because you were designed for something better than capable. You were designed for peace, for wisdom on your tongue, for hands free enough to receive what God is trying to give you. Martha was not wrong for serving. She was missing the one thing. And Jesus loved her enough to name it gently, personally, by name. You already know what you are still holding. You feel it. You've felt it for a while now. And the question isn't whether you're strong enough to keep carrying it, because you are. The question is whether you are willing to put it down. The strongest thing you will ever do is set it down and let God carry what was always his. Before I let you go, one question to sit with this week. What are you still holding that was never yours to carry alone? You don't have to answer out loud. Just be honest with yourself about what it is, because the moment you name it, you can have a choice about it. And that choice is where everything begins to shift. And this is the work that I do in my coaching, not to be the answer, but to point you to the one who is, to remind you that you have access to everything you truly desire, and to help you begin living like it today. If that's a conversation you're ready to have, you can apply for coaching at coachkatieann.com/call. The link is in the show notes. And if this episode found the right woman, share it with her. I'll see you next week.